Hello, and thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Alchemy interview series. It's Chris Ward here with AbundantYogi.com, the nourishing training grounds for yogis, coaches, and other heart-centered entrepreneurs whose aim is true freedom and whose deepest ache is for authenticity, specifically having the freedom and the abundance to be authentically themselves all the time in life and in business. Alchemy is a new interview series that I'm offering for no other purpose than to spread the love and to get to connect with and spend some quality time with some of my favorite people on the planet, people who I consider to be true alchemists, who have made nothing short of magic happen in their life and business. Here is what the alchemists I'll be interviewing all have in common. It's 5 unmistakable things. Number 1, they are very real. They're unassuming and raw. What you see is what you get. Number 2, they are deeply connected to their own heart, which connects them to the hearts of others. Number 3, they are here to serve, and it shows. Number 4, they are here to design a life, not just make a living. And number 5, they are doing work that they love, that truly represents who they are at their core, and they are creating quite the ripple effect in the world as a result. In these interviews, you'll get a little taste of how they've done it, what they've learned along the way, and how you can practice alchemy in your own life and business in your flavor and your style. Today, I feel so privileged to be interviewing Kathryn Budig, who probably doesn't need much of an introduction, but I will do one anyway, just so you know how much of a badass she really is. You can see her gorgeousness here, and you probably recognize that face as it's one of the youngest and most recognized faces in the world of yoga today. It's no secret, Kathryn is one of my favorite yoga teachers. I'm forever bragging about her classes on Yoga Glow, and I love taking her workshops when she comes in town. I've interviewed her in the past, and I just had to have her back because I dig how grounded and how real she is. She's the Women's Health Magazine yoga expert, along with being a contributing writer for the Huffington Post, Yoga Journal, Gaiam, The Daily Love, and Mind Body Green. She has indeed graced the covers of Yoga Journal, Yoga International, Om Yoga, and Common Ground. She's been featured on E! Entertainment, the Food Network, Shape, and the New York Times. She also serves as the brand representative for Toe Socks, ambassador for Pangea Organics, and since I just bought it on Amazon a few days ago, I know that she recently released the Rodale's The Big Book of Yoga. She also co-founded Poses for Paws and, of course, starred in the Gaiam DVD, Aim True Yoga. I could go on, but I'll stop right there so that we can finally say hello and hear from her. Kathryn, hey girl.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I love that you said that design your life and don't just make a living. That's so amazing. I wanted to write it down, but I don't want you to all think I'm not paying attention.
No, that's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do. What I've found in this very niche, very small community of abundant yogis is they're kind of the rebellious group. They don't like the overly dogmatic Sanskrit blah, blah, blah. They're very objective, and they're very much about finding that sweet spot balance between just being themselves and getting paid to live a great life and making a difference, doing what they love, and kind of leaning into their pleasure in a way where they really get to know who they are and what lights them up, and they give themselves full permission to go after it. So, yeah. But this is so about you. I want you to take the floor. We want to hear all about your story and also what you've had cooking lately, because I know you've had quite a bit of transition and a bunch of cool stuff cooking. So, let's start with like a up-to-date update of what's happening in Kathryn's world, and then we'll rewind and start at the beginning and with your story. So bring us up to speed on the latest and greatest first.
Well, the biggest thing for me lately has been uprooting my life of 8 years in Los Angeles, California, to move to Central Florida. And one of the big things that I teach is something called Aim True, and the ability to choose love over fear. And that was a big test for me to see if I can back up what I'm teaching, because I was very, very scared to move to Central Florida. My love is here, and that's what life is about. So It was the bravery of leaving the yoga community and the hustle and bustle where everything is happening and move to a smaller place where I'm way more disconnected from the current world. But I love it and I'm happy and I have my domestic life now and I feel more balanced. It feels more yogic, for lack of a better word. I have the balance in my life that I've been seeking, and it's not just that make a living, go, 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 go. It's now, okay, this is work, this is love, this is everything that I want, and it's all compiled together in one juicy little sandwich.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah. So that was quite a lifestyle redesign for you.
Yes, but it's amazing. We have a beautiful home together now. We have 3 dogs instead of just one. And it's just really nice to have family. It's probably the most important thing that's out there for me. So
I love it. I love it. And I know that you and your loved ones are very much into skydiving. He's an instructor at Drop Zone there, right?
Yes, he is. We were hoping to go today, but it's really windy today. So I may have to go a week without skydiving, but it's pretty amazing. As you can only imagine, it's very spiritual to dance through the air with someone that you love. And,
yes.
And it's very difficult to maintain a bad mood once you jumped out of a plane because it just makes you, it's a daily reminder of magic and that it's very, very real. So.
Yes. You have inspired me to try skydiving again. I've only done static line and it was kind of a horrific experience. I think I told you that.
So simple.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess you could call it spiritual, but anyway, I'll look for 2.0 version. We'll upgrade my first experience.
Lovely.
Anyway, I want to dive into your story because I know it's a juicy one, and I want to start at the beginning. So why yoga? This is a 2-part question. Why yoga? And why yoga on such a big scale?
It was accidental, honestly. I had been an actress for the majority of my life. I was in theater when I was a little girl, and I graduated from the University of Virginia, and I found yoga when I was in college, and it kind of came out of nowhere for me. Fell madly in love with it, gathered as much money as I could, being the college student that I was, to take 2 classes a week. That was a big deal. And
yeah.
And then realizing, hey, maybe I can learn how to teach this. And I wanted to move to Los Angeles and pursue the acting thing. And I was told there was a lot of yoga there, so I could learn how to teach it and then pursue my acting. Quickly got to Los Angeles, recognizing that Hollywood was not a very delectable place for me and that I wasn't going to be able to tolerate people telling me what's wrong with me on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So it quickly transferred over into more and more yoga, and then recognizing that I actually had a talent with it. So that turned into my full-time job, and it just started out teaching in Los Angeles at the Yoga Works, the studio where I trained, and then eventually got private clients like all the teachers do there. And then with time, I saw people were out there traveling and teaching workshops, and I thought, that looks kind of fun, and, you know, spice it up, do something different. So I got advice from some people, and they wanted me to travel once a month. I was like, no, that's way too much. There's no way I want to travel once a month. You're traveling. I feel like I'm rarely home longer than 4 days right now. But yeah, so it was really an accidental career, and everything just picked up. And I'm an English major. That's what I went to school for, English and drama. So I wrote a lot and I blogged, and I was blessed to photograph some really amazing photographers who made my image memorable. And it evolved, and now it's the love of my life. And work is work, and work is always frustrating and draining, but I feel really blessed that my work is something that I love. Yeah. I think that's why your line really rang true to me, because, you know, I think we all want to, I would just like to run around and, you know, ride unicorns and eat cotton candy all day long. But, you know, there's the responsibility that comes with the talents that you're given. And I think a big part of that responsibility is getting out there and sharing it, because people need to hear it, and they need the message, and they need the support. And it's very, very fulfilling. And I love my job.
Yeah, and it shows. It shows in a big way. And, you know, you've become an international brand in just, you know, the name Kathryn Budig itself in the yoga world. But just to rewind for a second, and towards the beginning, you said you started teaching at Yoga Works and it became a full-time career. Like that in itself, you said that very quickly, and that's something that a lot of yoga teachers struggle with. I mean, the majority of yoga teachers are just doing it part-time, and then they have some other full-time gig that, is their bread and butter and keeps the lights on.
I started teaching when I was 21, so I was fresh out of college. I didn't even know what it meant to make money at that point. I was still mainly living off the generosity of my parents.
Okay.
And when I say full-time job, I mean 15 to 20 classes a week. An insane teaching schedule, not just Yoga Works. I taught at many different studios and driving all over the place. And to not make a lot of money either. I mean, enough that a 21-year-old girl could be fine. Yeah. It was just me. I didn't have anything to support or anyone else, so it worked. And I see the people who are leaving high-paid jobs that are going into teacher training, trying to make a living because they're passionate about that. And that's hard. That's really, really hard, especially if you've been paid well before and you have to adjust your standards of what's okay. Yeah. And I think in scenarios like that, the best advice I can give is don't give up and allow your standards to financially adjust for the time, and it will get back to the place that you want it to be in. But it does take persistence, and it's this shockingly cutthroat career path now where everyone wants to be a yoga teacher, and there are teacher trainings all over, and they pump them out really fast, and it's difficult. But I do believe that at the end of the day, if your talent does lie in being a gifted communicator and teacher, and it's something that you really want to do with your life, that you will be successful at it. But just understand that success doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. It's a hustle, it's a lot of work, and I don't think people always recognize how much work goes into making a career happen. It's more than pretty pictures, and it's more than being in the right place at the right time. It's fully dedicating yourself to your cause and what you want to do. Yeah. If you're willing to make those sacrifices, then awesome, jump on. But just be careful what you wish for, because people will come up and say, oh my God, I want your job so badly. I'm like, okay, well, I don't sleep much anymore. And I hardly get to see my family. And it's tough. And I'm working on finding that balance. That's why I moved to Florida, so I can be with my family when I am home and not have to get on another plane to get there. Yeah. So it's balance. Like, the word that just keeps coming up for me is balance.
Yeah. And thanks.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. And thanks for being so real again about all of it, because, part of my work is that I work with all of these hundreds of yoga teachers that put so much pressure on themselves because they want to have the fancy pants rock star yogi career, and yet they don't know how to get there, and they so pedestalize people like you. So I love that you're being so real about how much work it actually requires.
Well, and I forget who said the quote, but be a first-rate version of yourself versus a second-rate version of someone else. Yeah. And I think it's really important to have role models, because I remember very, very well, before I felt like my career really happened, looking at big-time teachers who had made it and wondering, how the hell did you do that? And feeling, I don't know, bad about myself was the right word, but lost. And I think what's important to remember is don't get caught up in how am I going to get there, and rather put your energy on, okay, I'm doing what I love right now. Yes. Yes. And this is going to turn into something that will sustain me for the rest of my life. And it's, stop looking at the people and be like, I want their life. Because that's not going to feed you. It's not going to help you. It's not going to aid you in your growth. It's just going to frustrate you. And honestly, it creates a lot of jealousy and ultimately poison. Yeah. So, look to the people who inspire you for motivation. Maybe it'll light a fire underneath your ass, and that's always really important. But focus on what you're really good at, and focus on what you're bringing to the plate that's unique that someone else doesn't offer, and not whether it's better than what someone else can do, because everyone will have someone who's better than them. There's plenty of people who are better than me, and I know that, but no one is me. So I don't get threatened because no one can ever be me. It's impossible. I'm the only Kathryn Budig that will ever exist. So when you understand that you are unique completely and fabulous and jaded at the same time, and that's the both sides of the coin, and that's the currency. Yeah. Awesome.
So you're probably already speaking to this question a little bit, but this should help us maybe take it a little bit deeper. To go from where you started out to get to where you are today, you likely went through some pretty big transformation or shift. If you had to pinpoint that and like the biggest shift that had to happen in me in order for me to fully embody yoga rock stardom, it was this. Like, can you pinpoint it?
Probably one of the biggest things that I had to work on was accepting that not everyone will like me. Honestly, if you want to take your brand to a large level, you have to be okay with the criticism that comes along with it, and acknowledging that no matter how honest you are or how giving or caring or charismatic you are, there will always be people who will disagree with you, who will fight you, who will try to inflict pain with their words. And I used to be very sensitive to that and would readjust my approach or my words or my thoughts according to how people were. And the biggest lesson for me was to stick to your guns no matter what. And that if it's something that you truly believe in and you're passionate about it and makes your heart beat, that there will always be someone who's there to challenge you. And you have to just wipe that off your shoulder and keep going on. And it's not to say that I'm desensitized. I will be a very sensitive person for the rest of my life, and my feelings get hurt regularly. But I don't let it shape who I am or my choices. And at the end of the day, if I can look back at the decisions that I've made and approve of them and say I would do them all over again the following day, then I know I'm in the right place. If I don't, and I wish I had redone something, then that's worth analyzing for me. But otherwise, that's been the hardest part. You know, it's one thing to go in and teach a class of 15 people on a regular basis. It's a whole nother one to have all these people who think they know me personally. And part of me loves that I want to have that personal relationship or effect on someone, but it's a little scary when then people think they can make personal comments about you because they think they know you too. And that's hard.
Yeah. So big game players take risks, and therefore they make a lot of mistakes, and they learn from those mistakes, and they keep moving and they keep, creating big, beautiful, profitable things in life and business because they're willing to make mistakes and learn from them. Would you be so generous to reveal to us a gracious mistake turned priceless learning lesson that you can think of in your life so that we can kind of get in on the benefits of that learning?
I guess you could call this a mistake. I was up for a really big job. I don't know. When I was 24 or 23, I don't know, young. And in my mind, that job was the end all be all. If I don't get this job, my career will never succeed. This is the only opportunity I'll have in my entire life. It was very dramatic. And I didn't get the job, and I was heartbroken. And I spent an exorbitant amount of time watching the person who did get the job and really resenting her. And for months, I followed it and I was like, that was mine. I could have done that better. And just really negative, nasty, mean. I never lashed out on her, but in my head. And it was horrible. It didn't serve me at all. If anything, it kept me in a state of stagnation where I'm not going to evolve in my own career if I'm caught up thinking that someone else is living my career already, because no one is. You will get what you deserve. You will get the job that is yours. And if someone else gets the job, it means it was never yours to start with. And it's just so funny because in retrospect, had I gotten that job, I don't think I would have been known as me. I would have been known as that brand girl. And I'm so grateful that, you have to be careful for what you wish for and how quickly you get it, because when you get too much too fast, as the saying goes, it's not good. And I do think ultimately that was the universe's way of looking out for me and saying, no, you have bigger and better things to do than this, and keep evolving who you are and figure out what your message is. And I didn't know what my message was yet. I just knew I loved yoga, and I knew I was strong, and I knew I could take pretty pictures, and it was kind of as base as that at that moment. And
so I'm not saying
I regret it. I learned from it. It was a major, major learning experience to stop judging, stop comparing, don't sit in a place where you're, Facebook stalking and watching what another person is doing. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Do your career, be who you are, and trust that your opportunity is always around the corner.
Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly what I was going to summarize with, because I was going to say what I'm hearing you say through and through is like big trust. Really trust yourself, really trust your life, really trust what unfolds. And if this thing that you've been so invested in emotionally, energetically, perhaps even financially or whatever, if it doesn't turn out in just the way that you were hoping for, well, then trust that something better is coming. It's like, it's this or something better. It's like a little mantra that I always like to use is this or something better. Like I'll get excited and I'll get pumped and I'll get vested in something. And then there's always that little bit of, it's this or something better. And so it's that trust that if it's not this, then that means there's something better coming just around the corner.
That's the perfect mantra.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig it. So if you had one big insight, let's say your number one tip or strategy that you could give away here today that can help our viewers get a boost in confidence and clarity, meaning especially in their uniqueness, their unique message, purpose, passion, talent, skill, their unique offering, if you will. So if you had to pick one insight, tip, or strategy that would help them really stand strong in that, what would you say it is?
Well, a couple things come to mind. One, it's very important to acknowledge what makes you unique and special and talented. And acknowledging that, writing it down, or especially verbalizing it, actually saying it out loud, which gives it life, is that it's not narcissistic and it's not coming from a place of ego to say that you're amazing at something. And that I wish that for everyone, that they can say, I'm an excellent teacher. And not just to yourself in a room, but out loud, or I'm an amazing mother, or whatever it is, the talent that you have. Because once you can acknowledge that you possess, okay, these are my qualities, this is what makes me me and makes me amazing, then all of a sudden you have a duty. And you have a duty to take these talents and put them to use. And that's what I teach with Aim True. It's finding this ability to aim true using these amazing qualities that you possess to go out there and make a difference in the world. And the difference in the world can be in your own home with your relationships. It can be something as dramatic as going to India with Sean Corn and doing one of her off the mat projects. But it all matters. And it starts with acknowledging how amazing you are. And so I really encourage everyone to sit down and at least write one quality about yourself, whether you're a phenomenal listener and whenever someone's hurt, they go to you because they know that you will give them peace of mind, or maybe you make the best pasta sauce in the world. But, just acknowledging whatever these talents are, because they are useful and it will make you successful and it will get you what will make your life worth living and no longer just something that you think you should be doing or someone told you should be here by now.
Awesome.
It's yours. It's empowering.
I love that. So actually sit down and have an acknowledgement practice where you write out what you're good at, where you shine, where you're really skilled, where you're really talented, what you have to offer the world, in order to just A, get clear on it, and B, sort of light a fire underneath you to share this more often.
Yeah, because it's your duty, and I don't use that word lightly. Yeah. It's your duty to use these talents. Otherwise, what's the meaning of life? Obviously, we'll be asking that forever, but I do think one of the meanings of life is to know what your talent is and share it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what your talents are, you can't share it, and then you're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah, and there's a lifelessness to not being in tune with your unique abilities and sharing those, because when we share them, it makes us feel like more of ourselves, only stronger.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think as a second side note to what you said, it's really important to also know what you suck at. Not, you know what I mean? Like, not to pick yourself apart, but just to go, well, I'm really clear this is not my area of genius over here. So I'm going to leave that to somebody else. Like, I'm not going to expend a ton of energy trying to get okay in that area or trying to fix my weakness. I'm not going to go there. Like, I'm going to leave that to so-and-so down the street that's a freaking rock star at that. And I'm going to really stay in my area of genius over here, so that it feels downstream and fun and playful. And it requires less effort on my part, right? It's like a good balance. So, awesome. A couple more. In terms of lifestyle design and this whole thing of, designing a life versus just making a living, what do you feel is the single most important mindset to employ if our viewers really want to design a life versus just make a living?
Well, it's kind of what we've been talking about so far. It's don't listen to what society is telling you should do. And I'm sure everyone can relate to someone at one point in their life saying to them, "That's crazy. Why would you ever want to do something like that? That's insane. You'll never succeed at that." And learning how to tune that out, because like I said before, if there's something that you're really passionate about and it's what you think of every single day and it's what makes your heart beat and you get going, that's what you need to do. And there will be people who stand in your way and say you're insane, or it's the people who are unafraid to step outside of the lines, and that's what makes this world colorful and interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
And a lot of the jobs that are really remarkable and that people want to do, there is no blueprint for how to be successful at it, because these are the pioneers and the people who are creating, this is my life and this is my job and this is what I want to do. So, color outside of the lines, and I'm not saying being a stubborn asshole and be rude to people, but, don't let people put you in a box and label you.
Yeah.
Very important.
I love that. And I also love that you said, well, I heard you say something similar to this, is there might not be one perfect role model because you're you, right? And
right.
Your goal is to be like the biggest version of you, the happiest, fully self-expressed version of you, where you're really contributing all that you love to contribute, and it feeds you at the same time on so many levels. But there might not be one person who's done everything that you want to do, but you have this unique hodgepodge of skills and passions and talents and interests and quirky things and idiosyncrasies that make you you. So just really find out what lights you up and find mentors and people who have been successful in maybe each of these areas, and then just pull from that to kind of create your own little version of the way you want to do it. Because that's more or less what I've seen you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a collector of ideas. And I keep what I love and I nix what I don't. And the next thing you know, you have your own take on your own style, your own spin.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, to wrap things up here so we can keep this short and sweet. I'm a big fan of short and sweet. On that note, I think it's important to remember to keep what works and ditch what doesn't.
Yes.
Kind of like what's working really well for you, what's really fun, what's joyful, what's profitable in every meaning of the word, spiritually, financially, time-wise, all those things. Keep what's working and don't try to go fixing everything that's not working. Like, let it go and just keep capitalizing on what's working and keep doing more of what you love and more of what brings you more ease and freedom and income and what lights you up. So it's like lean into your pleasure and really trust that. On a big scale.
Lean into your pleasure.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts as we wrap things up? Anything you feel that you just got to wiggle out and share?
I mean, I hope a lot of people listen to this and they listen to your ideas and keep allowing yourself to be inspired. We need that, because we all have moments where we don't feel inspired, and it's not permanent. So keep seeking out the fire.
Amen. Amen to that. So I know that you just released the book. You have the Aim True DVD out. You have your website. But anything else you want to share in terms of how our people can get more Kathryn?
More Kathryn. Well, I have a retreat coming up in Queenstown, New Zealand in February. I believe it's the 9th to the 16th. And you can get all the information about that at thetravelyogi.com. And I'm also doing a 4-day yoga retreat at Four Seasons Maui, which will be a little more posh and expensive. But if you want to get away, and it's humpback season, so the whales will be breaching and do yoga and be at the Serenity Pool, it doesn't suck. So those are 2 upcoming retreats that I have going on. And we have a skydiving and yoga retreat in the works, which should be roughly September 2013. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
So exciting. And you have a newsletter on your website that they can sign up for?
Yes. If they just go to kathrynbudig.com, there's a join my newsletter link on the main page they can click if they want to stay in touch. And Facebook is probably one of the best ways to stay in touch because it's the most constantly updated.
Fantastic. And is that just facebook.com/Kathryn Budig?
That's a good question. If you type in Kathryn Budig, it's one of the pages. It's not a personal page. It's a page. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kathryn. It's been so amazing having you here. We will have you back yet again. I'm so glad that you're on the East Coast now.
Yay!
And Kathryn's parents live right down the street from me, so I'm spoiled. I get to see her whenever she comes in town for workshops. And when our studio opens pretty soon, I'm sure that we'll have her busting out all sorts of fun workshops there. And we'll link it to skydiving in some way, shape, or form, I'm sure, to get more people up in the air.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris.
You're so welcome. And for all of our viewers, thank you guys so much for being here. If you are new to Abundant Yogi and you share the same ache for authenticity, the freedom and the abundance to be authentically you all the time in life and in business, then make sure you subscribe so that I can spoil you rotten with more interviews like this one, juicy insights and tips on lucrative self-realization, mindful marketing, and living true. Plus, you'll get my lifestyle design video. It's a training entitled Do It for the Love and the Money. So head over there, abundantyogi.com, and hook yourself up. Thanks for being here. Have a gorgeous day. Mwah.